The Kenya Space Agency, or KSA, assessed the debris in the crash site in Makwene County. Here's KSA officer Major Aloys Weir.
It is a part of a space object, which is in form of a ring, a metallic ring, possibly from a rocket separation stage.
Officers retrieved fragments from the site for further analysis and to investigate the origin of the fallen object.
We are to assess the impact to the area, identify whose space object it is, so that we can use the existing legal mechanisms under international law, as far as the Outer Space Treaty is concerned, to look and to find a way to first get the person and bring him to the responsibility of his space object.
The KSA said the debris does not pose an immediate threat to safety. There were no casualties and no significant damage was reported. There's growing concern around increased global space activities and the rise of man-made objects in the Earth's orbit. That's led experts and governments to highlight the potential risks associated with space junk, including incidents like this one when debris falls back to Earth.
They entered a light-colored sedan with out-of-state plates. Officers responding to the multiple 911 calls found a total of 10 victims, 6 females, 4 males, which were taken to area hospitals. All of the victims are expected to recover with non-life-threatening injuries. The public has been very instrumental in the recent weeks to help us capture dangerous individuals like these 4 men. We ask the public, if you see something, say something, and call our Crime Stoppers tip line. All calls are confidential. That's 1-800-577-TIPS, 1-800-577-TIPS. I will now take a few questions.
Dean, do you believe this to be gang-related, and can you talk about the motivation behind this?
That's one of the avenues that we're pursuing, but it's too early to determine right now.
Are you considering this a terrorist attack?
This is not a terrorist attack.
Now, this is the suspect here that you're taking a look at now. This is 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar. We know that he is from Texas. He lived in the Houston area. We know that he was in the military for several years. We have a picture of him from 2013 as he was serving in the military. This photo here dated from 2013, and he was an Army Staff Sergeant, and he was the IT chief for the 82nd Airborne Division's 1st Brigade Combat Team. So we know he has military experience, but as far as the official motive goes and direct ties potentially to ISIS, when we talked to Congressman Steve Scalise, he said he was unable to confirm if those ties had been
verified.
Yes, thank you. Because there was that ISIS flag in the truck, and also we now know from President Biden that Jabbar had posted something on social media in relation to ISIS before this attack, but there's no official confirmation, as far as we know from the FBI, that was the direct motivation.
Yeah, it seems that Jabbar at this point, which could be FBI related and investigation related, but it seems he has very little social media footprint.
Yes.
So no one has seen that video that apparently was posted a few hours before this attack was carried out. So
a brief update on what occurred on Las Vegas Boulevard this morning. As you know, we just had our New Year's Eve event where we successfully protected the city, where over 400,000 people were here last night. And that changed this morning at about 8:40 when a 2024 Tesla Cybertruck pulled into the area valet of the Trump International Hotel. Very quickly thereafter that, the driver, who was the sole occupant of the truck, we saw what looked like maybe some sort of smoke, and then the truck exploded. Smoke was coming from inside of the truck after we noticed the flash and the explosion, and I'm gonna show you that first video. That's the Cybertruck parked right in front of the doors. Can you play that again, Carlos? So the individual that was in that truck is obviously deceased, still in the truck as we speak here today. our fire department folks, Engine 12, a number of others. You'll hear from one of the fire chiefs here in just a moment, arrived very quickly along with my officers. And obviously we knew that we had a much larger event than just a vehicle fire. And so there's going to be a drone video that plays to my left again. You'll see as the fire initially, they covered it with the tarp to try to get it to go out. Once the fire went out through the suppression efforts of the fire department, you'll see some of the evidence in the back of the vehicle. So those are gasoline canisters. They are camp fuel canisters and large firework mortars.
Fireworks went off in Salt Lake overnight. Casey Lund has been following this all morning, and he's going to give you the very latest information. And at least 10 people have died and multiple others injured after a man drove through a crowd of people in New Orleans. This in the French Quarter. We're going to hear from witnesses who were at the scene of what police are now calling a terrorist attack.
A police presence here, and you can see from some of these images just what a serious situation this was and how dangerous things were last night. This all unfolded just after midnight. We were able to talk to one of the neighbors that was just across the street from that home on Keaka Drive that witnessed that massive explosion just into the early hours of the first day of 2025. Like a scene from a war movie. First responders racing to save the injured, while those who were lucky enough to escape unharmed sprinted to safety.
And I heard what seemed to be a low blast, and I turned my phone to see what's happening, and it was a low blast actually, and you see the smoke coming up, and about 10 minutes later, a lot of commotion, ambulance, fire, police.
As a pizza delivery driver was arrested and taken to the Osceola County Jail after she's accused of stabbing a pregnant woman several times over a small tip. That is according to the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. The 22-year-old was arrested Monday and faces charges of kidnapping, home invasion, and aggravated assault. She's also charged under the same statute that covers premeditated murder.
There are now more National Guard soldiers down in the subway system than after 9/11. The governor saying that the initial...
Take a look right here. NYPD now confirming to Live Now from Fox that a man is in critical condition after police responded to a report of a person on fire inside Penn Station. By the way, Penn Station is the busiest transportation facility in the country. The NYPD saying they responded around 8 last night to a man on fire where they found a 67-year-old man with burn injuries to both legs and his upper body. Now, we did learn he was rushed to a hospital with injuries that the fire department says were deemed life-threatening. Police say the investigation is ongoing and no arrests at this point have been made. And of course, you probably are familiar with this case at this point because this comes just days after a sleeping woman was set on fire, burned alive in a Brooklyn subway, killing her. A Brooklyn grand jury indicted Sebastian Zepeda on charges of murder and arson in that case. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has urged the feds to file federal charges against the Guatemalan native who ICE does confirm was in the country illegally. Fox 5 New York station, here is what we know about that suspect right there on your screen. Police say the suspect has been arrested after a man was pushed onto the subway tracks near Chelsea. All of this happening Tuesday afternoon. That is according to NYPD. Now, the suspect, identified as 23-year-old Kamel Hawkins, has been charged with second-degree attempted murder and second-degree assault. The victim, a 45-year-old man, we're told was shoved onto the subway tracks there at the 18th Street station. That is over in Chelsea at around 1:30 p.m. local time. He was struck by a southbound number 1 train and rushed over to Bellevue Hospital by first responders. We are told that he is in critical but stable condition.
Interests of everybody in public safety that we postponed the game for 24 hours.
A police presence here, and you can see from some of these images just what a serious situation this was and how dangerous things were last night. This all unfolded just after midnight. We were able to talk to one of the neighbors that was just across the street from that home on Keaka Drive that witnessed that massive explosion just into the early hours of the first day of 2025. Like a scene from a war movie. First responders racing to save the injured, while those who were lucky enough to escape unharmed sprinted to safety.
And I heard what seemed to be a low blast, and I turned my phone to see what's happening, and it was a low blast actually, and you see the smoke coming up, and about 10 minutes later, a lot of commotion, ambulance, fire, police.
¡Se lo llevan! ¡Chucha! ¡No!